The real reason for WWE's spat of releases, which features another name. WWE block a potential AEW move. My review of Monday Night Raw. I'm Luke Owen, and this is the WrestleTalk News. Friday last week, WWE released a few stars from their contracts, including former WWE champion Jinder Mahal, Sanga, Veer Mahan, Xia Li, and Zion Quinn. Fightful then reported on Monday that WWE have also released Von Wagner. It comes at a time when WWE are looking to re-sign a lot of their top stars who have contracts coming up, with a fear that AEW would be interested in picking them up. More on that in a bit. Von Wagner was called up to the main roster last year, along with Zion Quinn, but neither was really featured on TV. They were both in a Top Contenders Battle Royal, and Wagner returned to NXT to partner with Mr. Stone, while Quinn featured in a squash match on SmackDown in a losing effort to Bron Breakker. Wagner was used on WWE's main event, which is taped the same night as Raw, but nothing ever came of his appearances. Fightful Selector reporting that there were never any significant creative plans on the main roster for either man. Further to that, they also add the real reason that they were released, and why Jinder, Sanga, Veer, and Xia Li were as well. Fightful Select report that the released names were talent who had been with WWE for 5 or more years, but were not at the same level of other talent, and their growth was not matching other talent's experience levels either. For what it's worth, PW Insider are reporting that there is an internal joke within WWE that All Elite Wrestling will make a play for Jinder Mahal to play off the social media spat he had with Tony Khan early this year when Mahal challenged Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. But while they are reportedly making fun of AEW for Jinder Mahal, there is a reported real fear over AEW making a play for some of their other names. As we've been discussing on the WrestleTalk News for the last few months, there are quite a few talent contracts within WWE coming up in 2024, and WWE have been quite slow on beginning negotiations. Natalya's contract is up next month in May, Drew McIntyre's deal is set to expire in 5 to 6 weeks, and both Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins' contracts are up in June. Sheamus, New Day, Ricochet, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton all reportedly have deals set to expire this year. WWE have made efforts to fix this, firing their previous head of talent relations, Dan Vettrell, with Fightful Select reporting that several talent have been pointing fingers at him for the reason their contract negotiations have been slow. He has since been replaced, and that appears to already be paying dividends, as Finn Balor revealed on Twitter that he is re-signed with WWE. Fightful Select add that this is a long-term contract extension and that WWE gave him a big money offer. The reason for this big money offer is because it was expected that he would have major interest outside of the company, and that specifically AEW is looking to sign potential free agents this summer, adding that AEW did have their eye on bringing Balor in. It's interesting to tie this together with last week's comment by Sean Ross Sapp on Fightful's post-Raw podcast that AEW would always offer more money than WWE for contracts, noting they outbid WWE on Kazuchika Okada, Mercedes Moné, and Will Ospreay. However, Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter wrote, there is also the belief WWE talent is less likely now to opt for AEW. Before we get into my review of Monday Night Raw, let's talk about the Monday Night War. Once again, a big thank you to everyone who has checked out the show and to those who have helped break our Patreon backer records supporting this show, getting 1 week early access and those bonus podcasts. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, check this out. Welcome to the Monday Night War.
Oh, I'm over budget.
I'm proposing a trade with Raw.
Oh! He's done it! He's done it!
I've gone overtime. It. Andrew Dawkins' contract is up at the end of the week. I'm not going to renew the contract. Let's hope he doesn't become champion. So let's
Please be champ, please be champ, please be champ.
Yes!
He finally pulled it out. He pulled out the big one.
I then had an email from Shinsuke Nakamura that said, I've got travel issues, so I fired him.
Oh my god! A brand new record!
I had the exact same thing with Nikki Cross, right? You have no champion.
Just me and Bales.
Normal. Now it's going to be Braun. Why are you guys talking?
I might have released Bailey.
Isn't Bailey your champion?
Yeah.
We've got a playlist for this latest season linked to in the video description down below, so check that out after you've watched this excellent video. And make sure to check out patreon.com/WrestleTalk to get 1 week early access on episodes and those bonus booking podcasts. But now it's time for my review of Monday Night Raw, aka the Well, they broke up Imperium episode of Monday Night Raw in about 5 minutes. First off, come on, own up, which one of you brought this sign to Raw? I didn't think Ollie could get those kind of air miles. The show opened with Pat McAfee and Michael Cole welcoming us to Monday Night Raw in the ring, and then through to a video recapping why the Women's World Championship was vacated last week. We then had Jey Uso come out for a promo to hype his Backlash match with Damian Priest, and I know that one half of this match has a main event moniker, but man, this feels real mid-card. Priest said that Jey was just the first of many to be fed to him by The Machine, and Jey fired back by saying that he was Dom's bitch. JD McDonough tried to attack Jey, but it didn't work, and Jey left smiling while Judgment Day crumbles without Rhea Ripley. Backstage, Damian Priest had a go at Dominic Mysterio, who was revealed to also be injured. Fightful Select report that this is a legit injury, and there is no timetable on his return, and wait, what's that? What is that? On his face there? Could it be? Yes, could it possibly be? Why, that's boop, 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 boop. Ollie! It's happened again! DIY failed to capture the World Tag Team Championships from Awesome Truth in a fun little match. DIY got a decent near fall off their meat in the middle, but the champs hit Truth-crushing finale for the win. Johnny Gargano shook hands with Miz and Truth after the match, but Tommaso Ciampa refused. Gunther came out for a promo, putting over Sami Zayn's win at WrestleMania and thanking him, because that means he can now be the Hunter Hearst Helmsley rather than the Hunted Hearst Helmsley. He announced himself for the King of the Ring tournament, and when he wins, he'll have the choice of any title he wants to take. New Day came out, with Woods seemingly also announcing himself for the tournament as the defending champion. They made fun of Gunther for losing his title, and the ring general said this was beneath him, which is true. He then ordered Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci to have a match with New Day, and Xavier Woods hilariously said this match has been done too many times. And that Xavier Woods is right, and he knows a thing or two about WWE 2K24's My GM mode, because New Day versus Imperium is a rivalry that is on cooldown. They had a fine little match, and New Day pinned Vinci. Gunther walked away disappointed in his group. Stop trying to break up Imperium, I yelled at my TV, and then they broke up Imperium. Well, sort of anyway. After a hilariously long telegraph tease, Kaiser attacked Vinci and laid him out. Security and producers separated Kaiser from him, but he ran past them to hit that running dropkick that took out New Day last year. Kaiser then walked backstage and told Gunther that he took care of it. It's been a long-running gag on this show for a while now that I don't want WWE to break up Imperium, because there's still a lot to do with this faction. But more to the point, I think there's a ceiling on Vinci as a singles guy. Maybe he can get drafted to NXT and have a good run down there. And perhaps there's now an opportunity to add a new member to Imperium. The best thing on this show by quite some margin, as it is with most weeks, was Drew McIntyre coming out for a promo where he also confirmed himself for the King of the Ring tournament, after he accused the crowd of kissing their cousins and wanking too much. Sheamus came out and told Drew that he was complaining and whining too much. You lost your title after 5 minutes because you blew it over a meme, a social media spat, and a t-shirt. CM Punk with one arm kicked your arse. Drew made references to the fat shaming that Sheamus got on social media last week, saying he was having less banger after banger and more burger after burger. He did actually quite cleverly turn this into kayfabe, however, by saying that everyone in the locker room was saying this behind Sheamus's back last week. But Drew has got his back because he's an actual friend. Like a lot of Drew's segments since late last year, this was fantastic. A great promo delivered brilliantly with actual human emotion and connection. I'm so interested where they're going to go with Drew and Sheamus, and McIntyre being in the King of the Ring tournament alongside Gunther has already made it feel more stacked than Raw's actual main event world title scene. Sheamus then beat Shinsuke Nakamura while Drew watched from ringside. Kathy Kelly tried to interview Sami Zayn about Chad Gable, but he was attacked by Bronson Reed. Security broke it up, but he got past them and attacked Sami some more. Not a good night for security and producers on Raw. That's 2 fights you broke up and then allowed to carry on afterwards. Do better, Petey Williams! Chad Gable came came out for a promo about that heel turn last week and said that he did it because Sami stole his moment. It should have been him at WrestleMania. He then buried the rest of Alpha Academy and forced Otis to say that together they're going to win the Intercontinental Championship for Master Gable. This was fine enough. It was a good promo by Chad, but I don't feel that it elevated him the way that last week's heel turn should have done. Dominic Mysterio had a chat with Ricochet last week before turning around and running into Liv Morgan. He was then ringside to see JD and Santos Escobar lose to Andrade and Ricochet. Damian Priest then laid out both Andrade and Ricochet to show that he doesn't need JD and Dom, they, in fact, need him. And the main event saw a new Women's World Champion decided in a Battle Royal. It was a fine Battle Royal, but exposed the brand's lack of top talent in the division. This was a match with Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, and a bunch of tag wrestlers who do 3-minute interchangeable matches with each other. It did feel like they tried to do something with Piper Niven and perhaps set her up as the first contender for Becky Lynch, as she dragged her out of the ring after being eliminated and tried to put her through a table with Nia Jax. Only it was Jax that used Niven as a weapon to put Becky Lynch through the table. Eventually, on the third try, which happened during the commercial break. The final three, to the shock of absolutely no one, was Nia Jax, Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch, and they had a great little three-way sequence where Morgan and Lynch teamed together to eliminate Nia. Becky then gave Liv the manhandle slam on the apron to win the match and win the belt. I've seen a few people down on this decision, calling Becky Lynch overpushed and all that, but really, who else was it going to be? Liv is the only other option, and there's still time to put the belt on her before Rhea comes back. The reality is, this is a break glass in case of emergency moment for WWE. Becky is the division's ace. When you lose your top star, you put the belt on your other top star. It capped off a totally fine edition of Monday Night Raw, which I'm scoring this week 3 out of 5. Now go and check out our playlist for the Monday Night War Season 4 and check out the latest episode if you haven't already.